Welcome back, everybody. So I do want to go over the outline format for argumentative essay writing. So most of the papers that you are going to do will have an argumentative tone to them. So you do want to make sure that you are using the structure correctly and following it no matter what, so that you are getting yourself the best grade possible. And so the way that we do this, there is an introduction, a body paragraphs, and there's a concluding paragraph. And so there is a blank template of this also in your module. So make sure you are using that as a means to help you. I think next Monday, you do have an outline due for essay number 1. You will complete most of the readings by then. So you do want to make sure that you do have that information laid out for yourself. Okay. You may have to read ahead just a smidge. Okay, so the introduction is comprised of a hook, general information, background information, and a thesis statement. So with those 4 things, that makes up the introductory paragraph or the introduction. And so your hook is something that prepares the reader, right? And it gets your audience ready to engage with your writing. So that's all it is for. If it's not capturing that attention enough, people just read and be like, I want this to end. And so you never want someone to look at your writing and go, I want this to end. You want them to look at your writing and be like, I am so engaged with this writing. And the way that you get people engaged with your writing is that you had to be engaged with it as well, because it comes off like that energy just flows off of it. And so you do want to make sure that your hook, whether it's a fact, statistic, an anecdote, it's geared to getting the attention to your reader. Now, you do want your reader to, everything has to work towards the thesis. So you do want your reader to be able to follow where you're going. So if your hook is like way left field, you do want to make sure that you rein in that beast before you get down to your thesis, because you don't want it to be too far off to where where are they going with this? So you do want everything to connect. Okay, everything has to connect. Your general information. So what does the reader need to know about the topic? Is this something that everyone should know about? Even if it is something that everyone should know about, you never want to assume everyone knows about it. So you do want to make sure that you address the things that are necessary as they pertain to your writing. How does it relate to your hook? How does the topic in your hook make a connection? And then you want to also make sure that as you're giving this information, you're working towards your thesis. For your background information, who are the prominent voices that you're going to use? So which authors are you going to speak about and use as evidence? What did they write? How are they credible? You can go as far as when they wrote it, when it was published, what do they know about the topic? Generally, I encourage students to identify who the author is, give the main point of their writing, and that usually covers them in terms of background information, because it identifies, this is the person that we're talking about, this is what they wrote, and here's the main point of that. And by doing it that way, that gives you free reign, and it provides enough information and credibility towards the subject. And then you have your thesis statement. And so your thesis statement is the clear and concise statement that points out your main ideas, your purpose for writing. And the pro tip that I always give is that your thesis writing is better when you are answering a question. Okay, so as long as you are answering a question, so the prompt has a question, it comes off so much smoother. So it's easier to do when you're answering the question. Okay. And then for your body paragraphs, and keep in mind, you are completing the structure for each body paragraph. So it's not just like you do it for one and then it's like, free reign the rest of the way. No, this is the structure for every body paragraph. So there's a topic sentence. And so this is what determines what the paragraph is about. And remember that the topic sentence is just a piece of the thesis, right? So if your thesis is summer days are longer, so your topic sentence is in fact stating why summer days are longer. So it's one point. This is one point as why summer days are longer. The next body paragraph, here's another point why summer days are longer. Is the third point why summer days are longer. And you would do that all the way to the end until you have all your points listed out. And then you provide a bridge, right? And so that bridge is what, so for instance, here is the land at which your topic lies, here's the land at which your evidence lies. So you create a bridge to bring them together so that they all connect and that they're all nice and pretty, right? And you can have the light streaming down if you want to. I'm kidding. Okay, so that bridge gives you the opportunity to connect your topic with the evidence in which you're about to give. Okay, so it connects the paragraph with the evidence. Your evidence, it can be a direct quotation from the text, it can be a paraphrase quotation from the text, it can be a synopsis, but you do want to make sure that the evidence at which you give relates directly to the topic sentence, okay? If it does not, if it's like, you know, a little bit over here, but it should be over here, that does not relate. So you do want to make sure that your topic sentence and your evidence are connecting and in alignment. And by doing this, think of it this way. The evidence is the method at which your topic sentence is confirmed, okay? So for instance, if you are talking about summer days being long, then that means you want a meteorologist or someone who understands like weather science to confirm that yes, summer days are longer, and summer days are longer because of this point, and they're confirming that for you. Okay, so they're used as a means, right? Your evidence at this point, you're no longer summarizing, that's not a word. So you're no longer summarizing in this juncture any longer. We do not summarize. What we are doing, we are taking things that we have evidence of, whether it's through the reading, through outside sources, and we're using those sources as a means to help us confirm what it is that we believe or what it is that we propose is true. Okay. Then you provide examples. What critical examples can you place here in this paragraph to relate to the evidence, to the paragraph, to the topic as its whole? And then you have an analysis where you're breaking down the meaning of how the evidence relates to the topic, right? So how this paragraph relates to the overarching topic that is addressed in your thesis, okay? So you do want to make sure that you are considering that as you are writing, that it all has to go down to the analysis portion where you're giving either a critical example, further explaining it, you're further explaining how there's a connection between what you said in your thesis statement, excuse me, and then what you confirmed in the evidence. And then you have a concluding sentence, which is essentially what does the reader need to remember. For your concluding paragraph, I have a structure that I like using because it's simple. So you want to restate. So what does the reader need to take away from the writing? You need to fill in the blanks by answering the questions that were left unanswered, and then you need to ice the cake, which is in any essay, tying your thesis and your findings in a beautiful proverbial bow and ending it. Okay, so restate, fill in the blanks, ice the cake. Or restate, fill in the blanks, ice the cake. Restate, fill in the blank, ice the cake. I can make a song out of anything. Don't try me. And then you also want to remember that you are completing the structure for each body paragraph. And then I would prefer more paraphrase content than direct quotations. And the reason why is because it's easier to break down the meaning than to just take the direct quote. And so if you understand the meaning of what's being addressed, you can easily take that information, describe the meaning, describe what it is that you understood from the reading, not by stating, I understood this from the reading, but you're taking that moment, right? So according to this author, they stated dot, right? It does not have to be a direct quotation. It can be a paraphrase quotation where they describe this moment here. And by describing this moment, this is what we gather. So we already know what the text says. And so we do want to make sure that we are using, we're understanding the meaning of what we're reading and not just regurgitating what has already been said. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, email me, text me, call me, whatever you want to do. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.